you might easily get panic about small fluctuations in the market, such as just about a $1 or $2 downturn, and you might close your position too early. We want a we want a strategy that can make you feel safe in this kind of condition. You don't want to sell the call too early and miss the majority of the profit. Since if for a stock if it climbs 2%, the option may uh, may increase about 50%. But if it climbs 7 or 8%, it might be a 500 or 600% increase in your option value. So you definitely don't want to miss this. And the next point is that we want to have a easy option structure, so that it's convenient for us to make changes. It may not contain too many legs, and also we want to have less uncertainty. We don't want to spend too much time about considering how we can optimize the which option we can purchase to optimize our portfolio, and we want a pretty straightforward option strategies. So that's basically our goals. So next, let's go over some bullish option strategies that we might consider. Mm, the first is definitely a long call, and some strategies that behave the same as a long call, such as a synthetic future, which is consisted of buying a call and selling a put both at the money. A long combo, which is contains selling a put at a lower strike price and buying a call at a higher strike price. Uh, we see that both these strategies have a uncapped risk and also uncapped profit, and they don't benefit. They are harmful from the time decay, and mm, and they both have a naked position. So I don't think these are what we consider as our steady profit strategy in a bullish market. Mm. The next, these strategies are consisted of the underlying stock, since we must purchase at least 100 shares of the underlying stock to make the profit, such as the covered call, synthetic call, collar and covered short straddle and covered short strangle, and these strategies include purchasing of the underlying asset, which is not a very which is a conservative strategy, and these strategies can be pretty good in in lots of cases, but according to our objectives, I think these are not what we are gonna cover. And another strategy is a naked put, which is I've already discussed. You need to spend a whole bunch of money as collateral, since a naked position imposes an obligation, not a right, for you. You have to sell your share or you have to purchase the share. Since so, I believe all the brokers require you to put at least 100 times strike or 100 shares of stock when you want to open a naked put or naked call option position. So that's not what we want to cover for today's content. And the next one is a bullish put spread. This is a strategy I want to recommend, and this strategy is consisted of buying a lower strike put and selling a out of money put, which consisted of this bull put spread. We have to notice that we are also buying a out of money put with even lower strikes than the one we sell. So the logic is we buy a we we buy a cheaper put and we sell a more expensive put, but both of them are out of the money, and we are betting on the thing that the stock climbs or just stays where it is, and both put went out of the money. So since it both went worthless, we spend a relatively small amount of money to buy the lower strike put, and we receive a more credit with the put we sold. That's why this is the case we can benefit. So we notice that in a bullish market, the probability of a stock climbing or staying in the same range is definitely greater than 0.5. So this can be a pretty good strategy, since you can have an idea of how much money you can make based on this strategy at the time the option expires. I strongly recommend we using this strategy at the last week of the option expire, since since you will have more certainty about this strategy, and we benefit the most from the time decay, since we are longing a lower strike put, and we are selling a put that is closer to the strike price. We know that the option with strike price that is closest. We notice that the money call and put has the largest theta. So in our position, we buy a lower strike put and sell a put that's closer to the stock price. That's why we can benefit from the time decay. And also at this put, and also there are a lot of other ideas, and this strategy can be coherent with our goals. Since for the second point, we have a good amount of profit with probability greater than 0.5, and we also have limited risk. The maximum risk is that if the stock falls below your lower strike price, then your maximum risk is your difference between your strike price times 100. But actually, you definitely don't want this to happen. When you open such a position, you definitely keep a stop loss in your mind, such as if the stock price falls into the midpoint between these two strike price, or if the stock price falls to a point that your long put and your short your short put has the same amount of time value, that you can no longer benefit from the time decay. Under such cases, you will definitely want to execute your stop loss. You will definitely want to close out this position. Please remember that you close out the position by first purchasing back your short position, and then selling your long position. Since so you would definitely remember to keep at least the amount of your short put in your portfolio as a cash. So yeah. So we actually have limited risk in this case, but the only thing you need to pay attention is that you must keep a stop loss, and keep you must be aware of the tail risk, such as in today, which is March 22nd, the Nasdaq index declined by about 2.5%. So if you have such a position today, and you don't stop loss, you might face some severe crisis with your position, since both you might fall into a case that both of the put becomes in the money, and you lose the strike difference times 100, and that's not what you want to happen. Definitely keep a stop loss, and we move on. Yeah, we know we know this position profit from the time decay, and it also benefits from increase in volatility, since we know that the Vega value for more expensive closer for our short put is greater than the one is greater than the one of our long put. Yes, that's right. Okay, and the most important thing is about the sixth point, which is we can avoid closing the position too early and miss the majority of a profit. If the market is pretty strong today, and the stock keeps climbing, we definitely don't need to sell our position. And if the market is strong, and we also don't need to take profit by closing out this position earlier to expiration, since as the stock gradually climbs, both of our put options become very small in value, and their difference become smaller and smaller. Thus, your portfolio is gaining value at a reducing speed, and you don't need to close out the position to take profit. And if you want to release the collateral, you can definitely do that, but you don't have to take the profit by closing out the position. And it is an easy option structure, and there's not many consideration about how to optimize, since you are purchasing the both put options, both out of the money, and at the same expiration date. We definitely, unless you are very bullish about the stock, you definitely want to have both of your put options to be out of the money, and since you want to have more than half probability that you will get a good amount of profit. So that's something I want to talk about is a bullish put spread. The other thing is about the bullish call spread. This includes buying a lower strike call and selling higher strike out of the money call, thus consisting of the bullish call spread. This the payoff structure looks pretty similar to the previous one, but please notice that in this case we are purchasing a more expensive call, and we are selling a cheaper call. What we bet is that when the option expires, both costs becomes in the money, and the difference in the option price is just the difference in the strike price. So when we open such a position, its value is the difference in the option value is definitely smaller than this price, since they contain different amount of time value. The more in the money an option is, the less time value it contains. And as the stock climbs, both money's time value reduces, and thus their difference in the option value gets closer and closer to its difference in the strike price. And to talk about the time value of the option, we want to mention another benefit about this bullish put spread. So a lot of people might not think of using put to benefit in bullish market conditions, but this is also something good about this strategy, since if you meet a bad day in the market and the stock decreases in value very quickly, and the option you sold quickly becomes in the money. At this time, these positions can somehow control your loss by using the time value, since your out of the money quickly contains less time value than your the option you sold quickly contains less time value than the one you have a long position in. So, as I mentioned earlier, at the time that your option that your short position contains even less time value than your long position, this is the time you definitely want to stop loss and consider closing this position. And other strategies include call ratio spread, which includes selling a lower strike call and purchasing two higher strike calls. And as we see in this strategy, we are not benefiting from the time decay, and we have uncapped risk, and if the stock doesn't move, we are definitely losing value. So, however, for a bullish put spread, as long as the stock doesn't decline, we are definitely taking a great amount of profit. That's why I think this is the call ratio spread is not quite a good idea if you are not so bullish about your stock. And another more complex structure is about a call ladder, which is consisted of setting a lower strike call and purchasing one middle strike and one high strike calls. And also, being the same as a call ratio spread, we are losing value if the stock doesn't move, and the time decay is harmful for our position. So that's why I'm not recommending this method. but it can be useful in a lot of cases. But due to the limit of time, I'm not discussing them today. A calendar call and is used mainly to take profit from the time decay. It includes buying a long-term expiration call, which is with a strike at the money or near the stock price, and selling a short-term call with the same strike price. And as I mentioned, the last week before the option expires is when you can really visualize the effect of the time decay. Before that, I believe time decay is very minimal comparing to other elements that affect the option price. So you definitely want to do this in the last week before the option expires. That's about the short-term call. But however, so if the stock climbs, and you can definitely benefit from this position, since your long-term. So if you are doing the same strike price and both out of the money, your long-term expiration call will have a larger larger delta value than your short-term call, since delta value has a mathematical meaning of the probability that the option expires in the money. So it's reasonable to think that your short-term call has less probability to expire in the money than your long-term call, since both of your calls are out of the money at this moment. But you will have a longer time for your long-term call to trade. Thus, it has a larger probability to expire in the money. So, what about a calendar put? This one, I don't think this works for bullish market conditions, since as you know, a calendar put, your long-term expiration put will also have a higher absolute value than your short-term put. So if your stock climbs in value, which is, I believe, the most common thing in bullish market conditions, your calendar put is definitely losing value, since and also you're exposing a much more expensive put option at risk, but only selling a very cheap short-term put. I don't think this is a reasonable choice for bullish market conditions. It turns into truth that most calendar calls and calendar puts, they don't benefit mostly from the time decay. They actually benefit most from the stock movements. So as long as the time decay is so important that it can you can visualize it in the graph, I don't suggest using the calendar call or calendar put previous to 1 week before expiration, since your position is too much exposed at risk comparing to a bet of only taking profit from your time decay. So diagonal call and diagonal put. The diagonal call is consisted of buying a dip in the money, which is low in strike and long-term expiration call, and selling a higher strike and short-term call. The major the major aim of this strategy is also to benefit from time decay, and also if the stock climbs, and you will have a you will have a you will have a some payoff at the expiration of the short-term call. But however, I think this is very uncertain, and this very uncertain and difficult strategy. You will be very hard to find how to optimize your diagonal call and diagonal put, which strike to purchase, and when which the higher strike and lower strike should be, and it's very difficult. And by buying a deep in the money and long-term expiration call, you are spending a lot of money into this. So I'm not sure about how this works comparing to other more reliable strategies. So I've never done any experiments, done any tradings on the diagonal call and diagonal put. So I'm not sure about how this strategy works. If you have some idea about how this strategy works, please feel free to comment on my video, and we can communicate about this. I might also give some attempt about these strategies in the future. A diagonal put is different, since you buy a lower strike and a longer term expiration put, and you sell a higher strike shorter term put. So your two positions might be same, might be quite the same in the value, or at least close to each other, and as your and they might be currently they might be same in the delta value, so this might be the delta neutral trade. I believe this is more reliable than diagonal call, since you can definitely benefit from higher strike short-term put if the stock climbs, but you might not experience too much loss from a lower strike longer term expiration put, since it contains more time value, and its delta value is maybe quite small comparing to a deeply in the money call option. Okay. A strap is consisted of buying at the money put and 2 at the money calls. So apparently this is very exposed to time decays. So you definitely don't want to do this in the last week. At least you have to exit your trade 2 weeks before the option expires. That means you have to spend a lot of money to open this position. Please remember that your break-even point is the strike, which is the current stock price minus your debit paid, which means the debit you paid to open this one put and two calls options positions, and also the strike plus half of debit paid. Yeah, there are 2 break-even points which you can notice. So this I'm not sure about what's different between this and just doing Mm, Let me think. So a major benefit uh, about this strategy is that if the stock decreases in value, you can take some profit at when it expires, but you definitely don't want to hold this till it expires, since it has too much time decay. It is completely exposed to theta. So this strategy can be quite unreliable, and it is quite exposed to risk. And also it's also completely exposed to volatility risk. So I don't quite recommend this strategy as a stable strategy in the bullish market. And the next two strategies include, you can use them in decreasing volatility in the market, and if you think the stock is remain bounded to a range, like a put ratio spread, which you sell to put, and you long a higher strike put, and also a modified call and put butterfly, which is consisted of four legs, which is a modified call is like a long call and two short calls, and another long call at a higher strike price. Please notice that the difference between the middle and higher strike price is closer than the difference between the lower and middle strike price. And the put butterfly is like it's like a long put, two long put, one with low strike and one with high strike, and two middle strike short put, and we also notice that the difference between the middle strike and high strike is closer than the difference between the lower strike and middle strike. These are some strategies that we can use when we are quite unsure about the market, and which I think might happen in a few weeks or a few or future months, but I don't hope so. I definitely hope the market to remain bullish, so I can always profit from the bullish put spread, which I think is the main goal of my video for today. That is my number one recommendation. I've tested it in both strong and adverse market conditions. It works pretty well. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you must keep a stop loss in your mind, and you must execute it. You cannot have mercy about it, since the market can go pretty bad or in one direction. If you don't keep a stop loss, your expected value of doing this trade is definitely less than zero. But if you keep your stop loss in mind, this is definitely one of the best strategies you can use to consistently make profit in a bullish market. That's all. Thank you. The next time I might present a video based on some earnings option strategies. So I've been doing some earnings calls since January of this year. There are some calls. There are some strategies that make me profit about 200%, but there are also others that make me lose $3,000 in value. The only currently the only two there are the only two strategies that I can find reliable for earnings options is, firstly, to sell a put before the earnings, but there are a lot of stocks that decrease in value. So this might not be a reliable strategy. You only profit from when the stock rises or there's a collapse in the volatility. But if the stock decreases a lot in value, you are definitely you're definitely losing a lot of your value. So the other uh, the other earnings option strategy, which I find to be the most stable and reliable, is that about 1 week or 2 weeks prior to the earnings call, the stocks can experience an increase in its implied volatility. So if you purchase a call and put spread or any other combinations of the stock, which is definitely a non-directional strategy, you can experience an increase in your option value, but by about maybe 10% or 15%. It's not a lot of increase, but it's also if you are spending about 20% of your portfolio value to trade this, and you can do this every day. So, or at least 2 times in a week. So you can make a simple calculation. This is quite a consider quite an amount for you to earn. So next time I will present some analysis on the earnings associated increase in volatility, and please feel free to comment and what I can improve or what I can present in next time. Thank you.